young man didn't use a condom on a date. And the very next day, he found himself pregnant with the woman's child, so he hurriedly found a bottle of abortion pills and downed them all at once, but to his surprise, not only did it not work, it actually caused his belly to swell to the size of a woman about to give birth. Terrified, the young man didn't dare linger for a moment and rushed straight to the girl's house. He wanted to find out exactly what she had done to him to cause this to happen. Jake was a big shot on campus because he often used the cause of women's rights as an excuse to pick up freshmen. It said that in just one short year, he had already gotten dozens of innocent girls pregnant. Just as he was bragging about his exploits to his friends, a girl wearing glasses suddenly walked past them. Her quiet demeanor instantly caught Jake's attention. To bag this prey, he took the initiative to invite her to a party. Hearing this, Sandra agreed without a second thought. What Jake never expected was that the true hunter often appears in the guise of the prey, judging by the missing persons notice on the wall. This Sandra was clearly no ordinary girl. That night, Jake styled his hair to perfection, then he slipped into a sharp suit and began his hunt. Seeing that the girl named Sandra had shown up as planned, Jake walked straight over to her, but to his surprise, it took him only a few words to convince her to follow him upstairs. However, just before things got intimate, Sandra suddenly brought up the people who had gone missing from school, but Jake was too busy passionately kissing Sandra to pay any attention to what she was saying. Just as the main event was about to begin, Sandra suddenly pulled a condom out of her bag and told him he absolutely had to be careful, although Jake agreed verbally. Midway through, while the girl wasn't looking, he secretly tossed the condom aside. The next morning, when Jake woke up from his sleep, he found that Sandra had already left, leaving only her phone number on the mirror. As a true playboy, he never dwelled on what happened the day before, so he simply wiped the number off the mirror. But the moment he turned around, Jake was suddenly overcome by nausea and ended up hunched over the toilet, vomiting non-stop. At first, he assumed it was just because he'd been too exhausted the night before, so he didn't think much of it. Just then, his best friend found Jake and congratulated him on scoring another innocent girl. But when Jake turned around, his buddy suddenly noticed that his abdomen was covered in blisters. Seeing this, Jake thought he'd contracted an STD, so he rushed to the hospital. However, the test results left the doctor completely stunned. After confirming Jake's gender, the terrified doctor fled the room without looking back. Jake was completely baffled. He picked up the test report lying nearby, only to find it stated that he was pregnant. Whether it was true or not, Jake went out and bought a bottle of abortion pills and downed them all at once. Not only did it have no effect whatsoever, but his belly actually grew bigger and bigger. Staring at the phone number still smudged on the mirror, Jake finally realized this must have something to do with Sandra from last night. He quickly grabbed the phone and dialed the number. After getting the address, Jake quickly drove to Sandra's house. Seeing Jake arrive, Sandra's mother looked utterly exasperated. She angrily called her daughter downstairs and skillfully converted the dining table into an operating table. By the time Sandra came downstairs, Jake's belly had swollen to the size of a yoga ball. He kept begging Sandra not to make him give birth to the child, lest he become a laughingstock. At that moment, Jake still naively believed that Sandra's punishment was merely to make him carry the child to term, unaware that his nightmare was far from over. Then Sandra told Jake that the moment he threw away the condom, it was already too late. After saying that, she turned and called her next victim, because during the time Jake had been a cad, many girls had also ended up pregnant due to his irresponsibility. And back then, Jake's attitude had been exactly the same as Sandra's now, so his fate was entirely of his own making. Helpless, Jake had no choice but to accept it. But before it began, he asked one question: where exactly would the baby come out?
Where's it gonna come out?
It's gonna come out the same way it got in.
Amidst excruciating pain, Jake's lower body exploded, and that thing that shouldn't have existed was successfully born. Sandra's mother then carried the baby into the next room and placed it in a crib, but just as she was about to leave, as the sound of a toy rang out, a terrifying commotion erupted all around.